Have you ever had a feeling about something and ignored it, only to realize later it was exactly right? Most people experience this again and again throughout their lives. The strange part isn't that it happens. The strange part is how often we ignore it. This subtle sense, this quiet hunch, often arrives without any warning or logical explanation. It's a whisper in a crowded room, a gentle tug on the sleeve of your awareness. Yet, we're taught from a very young age to seek louder, more tangible forms of proof. We look for charts, for data, for the consensus of the crowd, while this inner compass remains unconsulted. Welcome to The Conscious Creator, where we explore the unseen forces shaping our lives and uncover the tools to consciously design the reality we live in. If these ideas resonate with you, consider subscribing and joining us here. Today, we're going on a quiet exploration of something deeply familiar to all of us. It's not a new idea or a complex theory that requires years of study. Instead, it's a faculty you were born with, a form of intelligence that operates silently in the background of your life. We're talking about that inner knowing, the gut feeling, the subtle nudge that seems to guide you, if you're willing to listen. It's a part of your experience that you already know intimately, even if you don't yet trust it. Think about a simple moment in your day. Perhaps you were about to send an email, and a sudden hesitation made you pause. You reread it one more time, and found a critical mistake you had missed. Or maybe you felt a spontaneous urge to take a different route home from work. Later, you discovered that your usual path was blocked by a major traffic jam. These instances are small, almost trivial, but they point to a deeper current of information flowing just beneath the surface of our conscious thoughts. They're tiny validations of an internal guidance system that is always active, always available. Often, this inner guidance system communicates not through thoughts, but through the body. Your body is a highly sensitive instrument, constantly picking up information from your environment and your inner state. It often knows something is true long before your conscious mind has had time to process it. A classic example is the gut feeling. When faced with a significant decision, you might feel a literal tightening in your stomach, a sense of unease that has no logical basis. Conversely, a choice that's right for you might be accompanied by a feeling of openness in your chest, a sense of relief, a physical sensation of warmth and expansion. They're not just metaphors, they're tangible physical sensations. Think about the feeling you get when you walk into a room. Sometimes, you enter a space and immediately feel relaxed and at ease. Other times, you might walk into a room just after an argument has taken place, and even if everyone is silent, you can feel the tension hanging in the air. Your body registers this emotional residue. It's a physical sensation, a kind of density or static that makes you feel subtly uncomfortable. You didn't overhear the argument or see any evidence of it. Your body simply felt the energetic imprint left behind. This is a form of knowing that's primal, instinctual, and deeply embodied. This physical feedback is happening all the time, though we're often too preoccupied to notice it. Nowhere is this inner knowing more present and more vital than in our relationships with others. When you meet someone for the first time, your mind begins its usual process of assessment. It notes their appearance, their job, their sense of humor, and what you have in common. But beneath that mental chatter, another process is unfolding. There's a deeper resonance, a feeling-level connection, or a lack thereof. You might feel an instant sense of familiarity and trust with a complete stranger, as if you've known them for years. This feeling isn't based on their accomplishments or social status. It's a simple, quiet recognition, a sense of energetic alignment. Conversely, you can meet someone who on paper seems perfect. Friend, partner, business collaborator. Everyone may sing their praises. They might be charming, successful, and kind. Yet, in their presence, you feel guarded, a faint dissonance, a feeling that something doesn't quite add up. It's easy to dismiss this feeling as being judgmental or unfair. We tell ourselves we should give the person a chance, that our initial impression is probably wrong. But how many times have you ignored that initial feeling only to find out months or years later that your first instinct about their character was spot on? So if this inner guidance is such a common, universal experience, why do we become so skilled at ignoring it? The answer begins in our childhood. From a very young age, we're taught to look outside ourselves for validation and answers. Think about the structure of traditional schooling. We're trained to listen to the teacher, to memorize the information in the textbook, and to repeat it back on a test. Our success is measured by our ability to absorb and recite external information. Our own unique insights or feelings about a subject are rarely considered relevant unless they can be backed up by an approved, external source. This process slowly teaches us that authority lies outside, not within. This conditioning continues as we grow older. We're encouraged to follow rules, to conform to social norms, and to listen to experts. Parents, teachers, and other authority figures provide us with a framework for how the world works. They tell us what's right and what's wrong, what's safe and what's dangerous. This is, of course, a necessary part of growing up and learning to function in society. However, an unintended consequence is that we can start to believe that others always know better than we do. We learn to automatically discount our own feelings if they contradict the advice of an expert or the consensus of a group. This reliance on external authority becomes deeply ingrained. We carry it with us into our adult lives and into our most important decisions. Our culture worships logic. We're taught that the best decisions are data-driven, based on hard facts and statistics. The problem isn't logic itself, but our tendency to treat it as the only valid form of intelligence. We've created a hierarchy of knowing, placing analytical reason at the top. Anything that can't be measured is often dismissed. In a business meeting, saying, "I have a bad feeling about this," is seen as emotional or irrational. You quickly learn to suppress your intuitive insights and speak the language of data to be taken seriously. Another powerful reason we learn to ignore our inner guidance is a deep-seated fear of being wrong. Following a logical, well-researched path feels safe. If you make a decision based on expert advice, popular opinion, a detailed spreadsheet, and it turns out to be the wrong one, you've a built-in defense. You can say, "Well, I did my research," or "Everyone thought this was a good idea." You can point to the external evidence and justify your choice. The responsibility feels shared and diluted. You followed the accepted process, and so the failure isn't entirely your own. It's a failure of the data or the expert advice. Following your intuition, on the other hand, feels incredibly vulnerable. It requires taking full ownership of your choice. If you go against the grain and follow a quiet hunch, you're stepping out on a limb by yourself. There's no external data to hide behind, no expert to blame if things go south. If you turn down a perfect job offer because it just felt wrong, and then you struggle to find another one, the voice of self-criticism can be merciless. It'll say, "See, you should have listened to reason. You were just being foolish and emotional." The potential for regret feels immense. This fear of being wrong, of being the sole person responsible for a bad outcome, is a powerful deterrent. Finally, we learn to ignore our inner guidance. We can no longer hear it. The voice of intuition is notoriously quiet, a subtle whisper, a gentle nudge. That whisper is easily drowned out by relentless modern noise. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep, we're bombarded. Phones buzz with notifications, screens flash with breaking news, social media feeds flood, calendars stuffed with back-to-back appointments, calendars filled with obligations, very little room for silence or stillness. Constant busyness keeps our minds agitated, attention pulled outward, fragmented, thinking, planning, worrying, consuming information. Mental clutter acts like radio static. You can't tune into your inner knowing. Intuition thrives in quiet reflection, in the pauses between activities, in the space where the mind can settle. But those moments are rare, often extinct. Think about how you move through your day. Do you ever just sit without doing anything, without a podcast playing, without scrolling your phone, without planning your next move? For most, the answer is no. We're uncomfortable with empty space. We treat boredom as a problem and reach for a device. Constant stimulation is like a television left on at full volume. A whisper across the room gets drowned out by the noise. In the same way, the constant noise of modern life silences our inner guidance. So what is this quiet inner guidance we've been exploring? Is it a mystical voice or some kind of magical power? Perhaps the explanation is much simpler and more intimate than that. Let's propose a gentle hypothesis. What if this inner guidance isn't something separate from you at all? What if it's a natural function of your own awareness? Think of your consciousness not just as the thing that thinks your thoughts, but as a sensitive field of awareness that is constantly registering information. This field is far more perceptive than your analytical mind, and it's always providing you with feedback about your relationship to the world around you. This feedback doesn't always come in the form of complex thoughts or sentences. It's often much more primary, more direct. It speaks through the body as a sensation of tightness or openness. It appears as a fleeting mental image, a sudden sense of knowing, or a quiet feeling of rightness. This isn't a message from an external entity. It's your own awareness communicating with itself. It's your deeper, more holistic self sending a signal to your conscious, thinking mind. The guidance isn't coming from outside. It's emerging from the very ground of your own being, from the core of who you are. Consider an analogy. When you touch a hot stove, your nervous system sends an immediate, clear signal of pain. You don't have to logically analyze the situation. You don't need to create a pro and con list about whether to keep your hand there. The feedback's instant, and the message is clear. Move away, this is causing harm. We're trained to believe information only comes through our five senses. But what if our awareness perceives more? Perhaps our consciousness registers subtle energies, patterns, and connections. This isn't fortune-telling, but an expanded form of perception. It's a felt sense. When you get a bad vibe, your awareness registers a constellation of subtle data all at once. Your mind synthesizes this into a single feeling, a highly efficient summary that something is off. So what is this information telling us? Ultimately, it's communicating one thing: alignment. Your inner guidance system is your personal truth detector, constantly monitoring how your choices align with your true nature. When something is in alignment, the signal is ease and expansion. When it's out of alignment, the signal is tension and resistance. Think of it like tuning an instrument. When you're in tune with your authentic self, life has a sense of flow and resonance. When you're out of tune, it feels dissonant. This alignment is deeply personal, calibrated specifically to you. It's crucial to understand that this inner guidance is a compass, not a map. We often wish for a map, a detailed plan that removes all uncertainty, but our inner guidance doesn't work that way. Instead, it works like a compass. It doesn't show you the terrain ahead. It simply provides the direction of north, allowing you to orient yourself in the present. That feeling of alignment, of peace, that's your true north. It's a moment-by-moment process of navigation. Take a step, then consult the compass again. So, what begins to change when we stop ignoring this inner compass and start paying attention? The first and most noticeable shift is the emergence of clarity, especially in our decision-making. When you rely only on external logic, choices can become agonizing. You gather endless information, create lists of pros and cons, and poll your friends and family for their opinions. This leads to analysis paralysis, overwhelmed, frozen, unable to choose, lost in a sea of mental noise, trying to think your way to the perfect answer. But when you integrate your inner knowing, a new layer of information appears. You still do your research, you still use your logical mind, and then you add one crucial step. You check in with yourself. After weighing external factors, you get quiet. You ask, which option feels more aligned? Which choice brings a sense of ease or expansion, and which brings contraction or tension? That simple question acts like a filter, cutting through mental clutter. It gives a clear signal to show which logical path is right for you. Decisions aren't guaranteed, but they become clearer. The path forward is illuminated by a feeling of inner rightness. Clarity builds on itself. Each time the inner nudge leads to alignment, trust grows. You rely on it more, not replacing thinking, but partnering with it. Decision-making shifts from mental battle to a quiet conversation between mind and deeper awareness. Life still has challenges, but you navigate them with more confidence and inner certainty. You begin to trust you have what you need to find your way. When we listen to our inner guidance, life feels less like a struggle. Much of the friction we experience comes from forcing ourselves into situations that are out of alignment with who we are. It's like trying to swim against a strong current. Eventually, you become exhausted. But when you follow your inner compass, you're guided toward the path of greater flow. This often leads to bigger changes over time, not through brute force, but by simply responding to clear signals from within. The resistance you were feeling was a message. This is a gradual process. Learning to trust your inner guidance is like tending a garden. It requires patience and consistent practice. At first, the signals may be faint, and your logical mind will try to dominate. The key is to start small. Practice with daily choices. Before you say yes to a request, take a breath and notice the feeling that arises. These low-stakes exercises build the muscle of inner listening. A powerful practice is to journal your gut feelings. Over time, this provides your logical mind with data, building evidence that your intuition is reliable. We've explored the quiet wisdom of our inner guidance, a compass toward your true north. We've seen how it speaks through unspoken hunches and the language of our bodies, and what shifts when we start to listen. The invitation is gentle, not to abandon your logical mind, but to expand your definition of intelligence. The practice is simple: the pause before you act, the breath before you respond. So as we conclude, remember this: you may not need more answers. You may simply need to trust what you already know.